Everything starts somewhere.
Good afternoon, good evening all. Purple Valkyrie is back and we are back in the Discworld. How is everyone? Thank you for joining me. Got a very special guest today, but before I bring them on, I better say hello to everyone. Good evening, good afternoon. We have got Hunky Chunky Funky Monkey, still love that name. Connie P. Smith, good evening, love. Darth Haster, hello. Richard Cotton, Jester of Sin, Mr. Hyde, hello guys. Lord Thoth, welcome. Let me scroll down. Starry-eyed girl. Ha! Hello, sweetheart. Mark the infinitely tired. Hello, love. Let's keep scrolling. Make sure I've not missed anyone. JPRPH1. Oh, stumble over your name. Sorry, my love. Samantha Joe. Hello, sweetheart. And Generalissimo Hefe. Pod Racing Palpatine. Good evening. Who else have I got with me? James Andrew Morrison. Hello, love. Thank you for joining. Have I got everyone? No, Kronos. Welcome, Kronos. Thank you for coming. I think we've got everyone. Oh, no, it skipped on me. Goodness. How is everyone today? Chris Persia, welcome. Thank you for joining. I've got a new person in the chat. Hello, welcome. Thank you for joining us. And who else have I missed? Naughty Monkey Olaf and Dee Dee Myers and Louise. Hello, sweetheart. Welcome, everyone. Thank you. Really appreciate it. And Apollo's Minion. Hello, my love. So, as I said, special guest again today. And let me bring her on. You know her. You love her. It's our story.
Hello, everyone. I love that intro, Purple.
It's brilliant, isn't it?
You.
That is by the talented Loki. I absolutely adore it.
Oh,
Thank
it's
you,
fantastic.
boss. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. I'm starting to get in the Christmas spirit, so I've got my sparkly jumper on.
I've got to ask, has Buble been played yet?
Yeah. It was that bad. The boys stole Alexa.
Oh gosh. Back in the loft, Michael. It's not December yet.
Well, I figured out I could set an alarm
Oh,
So
yeah.
when I want them to come off the Xbox,
Mhm.
I set a time and I'd set it to play a Michael Bublé Christmas song, and it works a treat because they can't stand it.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Yes, but they cottoned onto it, so yeah. They've banned me.
Banned from listening to Christmas music. Pod Racing Palpatine says no Bublé ever.
Oh, you got to at Christmas. Sorry, Pod Racing Palpatine.
Oh my gosh. So, thank you for joining. So, today we're on part 3 of the Discworld.
Mhm.
We've done the books, we've kind of delved into a little bit deeper of the characters
Mhm.
and how they fit into the storylines. And today I thought we'd go over the media because surprisingly, there's been quite a bit over the years of live action and cartoon of the Discworld.
Yeah, there has. I'd forgotten how much, to be honest, until I started looking at it for tonight.
Yeah. I think, if I remember correctly, the first, other than I think Truckers and Diggers, that,
Mhm.
although not technically Discworld, I think that came out first because that was
Yes.
like a stop motion animation for kids. But the first Discworld that came out was Weird Sisters, which was in 1997, I believe, the cartoon by Cosgrove
Mhm.
Hall. Do you remember watching this one, or is it one that kind of skipped by?
I do remember watching it, but I'd not gotten into the Discworld novels at that point. It was, I think it was around 99, 2000 that I started getting into them.
Mhm.
So I just kind of enjoyed it for what it was. It was like a fantasy cartoon about witches. It was
Yes.
basically Macbeth.
It is, yeah, it's Macbeth. It's not beat around the bush, it is, it's just a retelling. It's funny, but it is.
Mhm.
I was surprised going back and kind of looking at it again, what a big cast it had, for the time. Probably won't mean much to our American friends, but the voice cast was actually pretty impressive. We had Christopher Lee, Jane Horrocks, June Whitfield, Annette Cosby. And all of these at the time, they were pretty big names in the
Yeah.
for UK actors,
Mhm. Oh God,
especially
yeah, well,
Christopher Lee.
Lee.
Yeah, who actually voiced Deaf quite a few times before he passed, if I remember correctly.
I'd got the perfect voice, and I can't imagine anybody else doing it. To be honest, not now.
No, I think it was Ian Richardson, wasn't it, who did In Hogfather?
Yeah.
Yeah, and he was really good as well, bless him. So yeah, as we say, it was by Cosgrove Hall. It was a 6-part animation, but I think I only ever watched it as the film because it was released on DVD, which is quite hard to
Yes.
find now. So I never actually saw it in whatever segments they originally released it as. And then the second one that came out the same year by the same company, and I think it had some of the same cast as well, if I remember
It did,
correctly,
yeah.
was Soul Music.
Yeah, we were just talking about this, weren't we? That it was an odd choice. Soul Music, it's one. I wouldn't say it's particularly a standalone story, although it can sit on itself. But I think to appreciate it more, you've got to know some of the other characters.
Yes. I think something like,
Mm.
I'm trying to think if it was even out. I think it was because it was.
Was that the latest one?
I think that was the latest one, yeah. So if something like Small Gods, for example, had been released, I think that would have been a much better kind of standalone.
Yes.
But I think given the time, Soul Music, I think that was like the next one that could be released that wasn't part of a series, that wasn't kind of tied into any of the other books where you had to go back and give backstory and kind of fill the audience in on what they're missing or why the characters are so important.
I mean, and the general theme was quite, I suppose, accessible. I mean, so
Yeah.
basically, the Soul Music was the Discworld discovering rock music, but they called it music with rocks in, which was quite amusing.
It is, and some of the names, it's got some of the best kind of puns. if you want a funny one, I would definitely recommend Soul Music to read because some of the things he gets away with. It's like the main character, he's called Impikellen, which means bud of the holly. It's that kind of stupidness. And he looks a bit elvish.
Yes.
Yeah. It's that kind of silly humour that kind of drew me in. I think the animation, it's not top notch. I think it's safe to say. I think it looks pretty dated now. But
it's still got a certain charm.
It does. Yeah, I was definitely very excited to find both of them on DVD because I know they're quite hard to find nowadays. So they sit up on my shelf and part of the collection, and I'm glad to have them. But I don't remember them being released at that particular time. And again, the cast was pretty big. There was Neil Morrissey played Mort. Again,
I forgot about that.
Christopher Lee was back as Death. Who else did we have? George Harris. Andy Hockley played Imp. So the cast, they did pretty well. It's kind of weird. The Discworld does seem to do quite well for getting people to kind of get involved.
It does, yeah. It does seem to got this kind of almost prestigious, I said it right, quality to it.
Yeah, we should probably warn you guys, we can't talk this evening. It's a problem.
We couldn't even talk to each other.
We couldn't. We were stumbling over words in the green room. It was terrible. But the next big thing that came along, and it took a long time for the next thing to come along.
It did.
And I remember being so excited when it was announced. I think I was even at one of the conventions when they first started talking about it. And it was like, no way. It's not going to happen. And it did. It was Hogfather.
Yeah, and it was it's difficult to explain. I suppose it's kind of like when Game of Thrones started. That kind of, for Discworld fans, it was that level of they got a big budget because it was Sky who did it. And it's like, it had money thrown at it again, an excellent cast. It was advertised absolutely everywhere, and God, there was just so much buzz around it.
It really was, yeah. And that I remember watching because I wouldn't budge from the TV when it came on. So it first aired in the UK on the 17th and 18th of December 2006, and I was just glued to the screen watching it. I had such high hopes for it.
And it was a really well done adaptation, I've got to say. Considering, I suppose 2006, it's not that long ago, but I mean, there are tricky bits. I mean, like a live action Death, you've got to get Death right. He's got to look, substantial. And
Death could have been done really, really badly. I think, as you're saying, because it's basically a skeleton. It's the Grim Reaper, and in this he's actually dressed up as Father Christmas, so that can go really, really badly.
It sounds really bad describing it. It's much better than what it sounds. Have you got any images, Purple?
Yeah, actually, let me see if I can pull some up. I mean, the intro that Loki was so kind to do for me, that was the Hogfather, and that's the Death that you saw with David Jason, who was actually really good in this as well. He played his kind of, is his butler, I suppose you could call him, but he's not really his butler. He's kind of his servant, but reluctantly. Let's have a look. But yeah, it was one of those that I was so excited for. I was like, oh my god, got to see this. And I wasn't sad about it, I've got to admit.
No, I mean, I was saying to you earlier, I didn't have Sky, and then when I found it was there, I was like, I even considered getting a subscription just for that. But yeah, my friend very kindly recorded it for me. Look,
There he is. So you describe it to people and you think, yeah, Death, the Grim Reaper, dressed up as Father Christmas. It shouldn't work, but it does. And the way they did it, it's just it's an actor just with a mask. But it works so well. And they even got the blue eyes.
The blue eyes, very important.
Very important, yeah. So the attention to detail, I think, is what made fans happy, as well as the cast.
But yeah, do we need to explain that? So Hogswatch is the Discworld's version of Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember what happens to the real Hogfather.
The real Hogfather, it's a lack of belief.
Yeah.
So that's the essence of the story. Belief is drying up, and in the Discworld, what keeps gods, anthropomorphic personifications like the Hogfather going is belief. And if children aren't believing in him, he's not going to be there anymore. So that's where Death has to step in and kind of take on this role that he's really badly suited for. And kind of trying to kickstart the belief again, especially in children. I think the line in the book is, you have to believe the small lies in order to believe the big lies.
Yeah.
So there's nothing malicious about it. It's just having that kind of sense of wonder brought back into the world, and to have something for children to latch onto. And then as they grow up and become adults, they can kind of keep it with them. But it gets more complicated because there's a plot about assassins, and then there's various other themes that come through, and then there's the auditors, which are the ones who are behind it.
They're my favourite villains. I love that story anyway.
The auditors.
But everything about Susan as well. It's just a brilliant like kind of alternate Christmas story.
It is, yeah. It's Christmas, and it's accessible enough for people to kind of get it. And it's a Christmas story, but it's enough of its own thing to kind of have that interesting twist about it.
Oh, I'd forgotten about that, Colin.
Yes, not tea time.
Tea time.
Teatami. Yes. He gets very upset if you pronounce it tea time. Hunky Chunky Funky Monkey says it was disappointed with Hogfather. I think it bears rewatching.
Yes,
definitely. I think a lot of people didn't like the cast. I think they were a little bit, especially the one who did play Tea Time. Was it Mark? Oh God, I can never remember his name. Hold on, let me look him up. I can remember
Mark.
It was. Where is he? It's not Mark Warren, was it? It was. Yeah, it was. Yeah. It was Mark Warren, and he didn't do a particularly great role, I've got to admit. He sounded very much like. Do you remember when Johnny Depp did Willy Wonka?
We don't talk about that. Yes, I do. I've been trying to forget, but yes, I do.
Thank you, guys.
Yes, he was. Yes, he like almost kind of like childlike, and it didn't really kind of suit the character.
Yeah, it was very odd. I mean, he looked great. And you can see the budget that they had, they spent it wisely. You know, the special effects look pretty good, especially the costumes look great. You know, even the effects on the horses, the pigs that they had, which pull the Hogfather sleigh, even down to the silly things like the magic that they use. It all works, and even the auditors, which are described in the books as basically looking like robes floating in midair.
Yeah.
It kind of gave them this kind of shimmery, translucent look, which actually worked pretty well.
Yeah. I often wondered if they inspired J.K. Rowling with the Dementors.
No, slightly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, J.K. Rowling is known to, shall we say, borrow from other sources.
Yes.
So possibly.
Not borrow, homage.
Homage, yeah. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, he totally does.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, I enjoyed it. And again,
Mhm.
it was one that I think they picked the right time of year for one. I mean, obviously,
Yeah,
Christmas.
absolutely.
Nailed it. And I think because Terry and I don't think it was Narrativia at the time were behind it, but I know it was is it Rod? Yeah, Rod Brown and Ian Sharples were the producers, and I think
Yes.
Terry was very much on board at the time, so they couldn't do anything other than what Terry wanted, because he would have put his foot down and said, no, this
Yeah.
isn't how it's going to happen.
Yeah, and you can tell. You can always tell when they're involved. And didn't Terry have a cameo in this one?
He
Was
did.
it?
He did. He plays the toy maker right at the end.
Yep.
Yeah, I've just checked, and it wasn't Narrative at the time. It was the Mob that did it. And I think the Mob then later on becomes Narrativia, the actual Discworld media company.
Mhm.
Oops, skipped on me. Hello, Polly.
Hi,
Welcome.
Polly.
Just to say not to. Yeah,
We've figured Retro Duck.
I fully agree. We don't talk about that one, unfortunately.
That's a stream for another time.
I think we've actually torn that apart at
Oh,
one
you did,
point.
yeah, you did. You
Yeah,
did
we
your Tim
did.
Burton one, yeah.
Yeah, we hate that film. Not for the cast or anything, it just didn't need to be made.
No.
But that's for another stream.
Mhm.
I think we had a comment earlier, wasn't it definitely was Hogfather that came out first, but
Yes.
Colour of Magic was the one that came out after, and it was actually Colour of Magic and The Light Fantastic. It was 2-part, of course, as they do.
Yeah, I was never quite sure that worked.
I wasn't impressed, to be honest. Of all of them, this one was actually my least favourite. I think I've only ever watched it once, all the way through. Even though, again, it did have a good cast. So David Jason came back, and I think that was most people's kind of big sticking point. They didn't like him as the main character, Rincewind. And I can kind of see, I thought he was a little bit too old. What about you,
So I
hon?
was just going to say that, I just don't see David Jason as Rincewind. I don't know, would you have cast for him?
I don't know, to be honest. Just in a comment by Mark. Mark, which question, love? What question didn't we answer? I must have missed it. Could you type it again for me, sweetheart? No, I'll try and answer it for you. Yeah. Pod Racing Palpatine, Rincewind were miscast, but David Jason's production company was involved.
Ah, right.
And I think if I remember correctly, it's a character he always wanted to play. Richard Cotton says I would have cast Tony Robinson.
I could see it, but again, at that point though, he would have been a bit too old.
Yes.
I always associate Tony Robinson with Discworld. Anyway.
Yes, and he was actually in Hogfather. He plays the store manager, which is kind of a fun character. He's a very kind of slimy, very profit-based character. But other than David Jason, we had Sean Astin, who played Two Flower, which I thought was actually pretty good as the tourist.
I remember not being sure, but then obviously after seeing him in Lord of the Rings, he kind of won me over, and I think he was really well cast as Toolflower. The old tourist thing. Yeah.
Yes. I remember talking to some people, because a lot of people, the fans, they always cast the fans as extras, and they said that Sean Astin was actually a really nice guy to talk to. He went out of his way to kind of learn the character and how to pronounce certain words. He really kind of tried his best with the character.
Yeah.
And I thought that was quite nice.
Wow, isn't that refreshing? An actor doing his job.
I know.
Oh my word.
My gosh. Getting into a role and,
Researching it.
Researching, exactly. Not mentioning any names. Yeah, I'm just looking down the principal cast, and I forgot how many people were actually in it. We had Tim Curry was Tryman, Christopher Lee was the voice of Death.
Yeah, of course.
Jeremy Irons was Lord Vetinari, who actually
I really liked.
Did you? I didn't like him.
I did, but then when Going Postal came along, I completely left him. But I like Jeremy Irons, though, so I'm a bit biased.
I liked Jeremy Irons. I just didn't like the silly, lispy voice he gave him. I just thought it took away some of the menace, but I think he looked good. And all I remember is him carrying around that tiny little puppy for some reason.
Waffles.
Yeah, just got a little dog with him. That's like,
He didn't carry him around with him though in the book.
No, he didn't. But in the film, he did. Every time you see him, he's got this tiny little dog under his arm.
I'm gonna have to rewatch it now. But yeah, no, Mark. This gets blown out of proportion every time. I'm not obsessed with George Clooney.
No, just bat nipples.
Mark, you're not going to derail it. I've heard about you with Sammy, and no, it's not going to work on me, matey. We're being proper. We're talking about literature.
Yes, we're trying to be sensible.
Yeah.
Colin P. Smith for James Bond villain trope. Possibly.
Yeah,
I think that's what they were going for. And in the books, the character does have a pet dog, but Jeremy Irons just looked really silly carrying around this tiny little Yorkshire Terrier-looking puppy. Mark says I didn't say it.
You don't need to. It's just there implied in the air.
Just left it hanging there. Chris Persh says, Starry, you wouldn't be casting any aspersions to certain fake blonde actresses, would you?
Chris, would I do that? Honestly.
Perish the thought, Chris. Perish the thought. I can't even say it with a straight face. Actually, that's a really good suggestion. Pod Racing Palpatine, Stephen Merchant said, Stephen Merchant would actually be pretty good. I could see that.
I could see that, yeah. Good idea.
Who else did we have? We had David Bradley, who I actually loved as Cohen the Barbarian. I thought that was perfect. That was so fun.
David Bradley's just good in everything.
He is. He's one of the people on my list that I'd love to meet, because apparently he's a really nice guy as well. Every time I go to a convention, I bring, and I know he's there, I bring the screenplay. So I try to get it signed, but he's always got a queue half a mile long. It's like, okay, I'll come back later.
We'll get there one day.
We will, yeah. I even have to bring a tent and camp out. So we'll get him. We'll get his autograph eventually. Who else did we have? Nigel Planer. And as did Terry have a role in this one? He did, didn't he? He was one of the astrologers or astronomers or whatever they are. Yeah, I could not remember what he played.
Is that good? You can't tell he's there. Oh, I'm just reading what. Yeah.
Yeah, Colin says, I don't think I was aware of David Bradley when I first saw Colour of Magic. I knew of him, but I think I knew of him from Harry Potter mostly,
Yes.
if I remember correctly. But obviously he's been in much, much more before that. But that was the role that kind of brought him to the forefront, at least for me.
I think that's when he kind of joined, the geeky side.
Positive Candoras, would Benedict Cumberbatch work as a character of Discworld? I think he would, but I'm not sure who I would cast him as. He's got that kind of weird, sort of quirky look about him. So he definitely fit in well, but I'm not sure who I would cast him as. What about you, hon?
I think it could work as the Patrician.
Oh.
Now he's a bit older.
Yes.
Just imagine him with a little beard.
little goatee.
Little goatee.
Yeah, actually, I could see that because he can.
He's good at raising his eyebrow, and we know the Patrician's very, very good with his eyebrow raising.
Oh my god! How mad were you when you found out that the Patrician's now a lady? Yeah, that's the face I pulled as well.
Almost as bad as the Doctor. I was just like, no.
Right, that's it. I'm done. Yes, thank you, Sam. You're right. Terry was one of the people studying Greater Tuin. Yes, thank you.
You've riled me up now. There's absolutely no need. Oh, gender swapping, no.
Oh, you've got to come on when the reviews start for the watch.
Oh, I will, love, absolutely.
I'm just going to rip into it. It's going to be so funny. But in a bad way, because I'm just going to be so angry. I can already feel my blood pressure rising.
Breathe. Just breathe.
Oh my god. But what did you think of it? I've got to admit, I wasn't. It's, as I said, it's my least favourite of them all.
Yeah, I kind of watched it for Sean Astin and Jeremy Irons. But no, it's not really one that I go back to. But Colour of Magic is one of my least favourite stories anyway.
Yes, yeah. I always say to people, if you're going to start, don't start at the beginning. Start at like book 3 or book 4, and then once you've kind of gotten a feel for the Discworld, go back and read the first 2.
Yeah.
Because I think if I'd read the first 2, it probably wouldn't have grabbed me the way it did if I hadn't gone back and read them.
Yeah, well, it's same because I actually started with Mort. And then Gods and Weird Sisters. Like I think they're the kind of like your 3 main, ways into it.
Yes, because I think we even talked about that last week. It's 3 kind of main branches, if you will, that you can kind of follow. So you can go down the Witches, the Watch, or Death. And it's a good kind of, it gives you a good basis. So once you've read all of those books and you like them, you can kind of pick up another character and run with it.
Yeah.
I think what I did is I just read the first book, went back and read the first 2, and then read them in order of release after that. What does Retro Doc say? With such a massive universe to account for, are the Discworld TV film adaptations too daunting for newbies if they require pre-knowledge of the books and backstory? I would say not really, especially the ones that were done by the mob. So Hogfather, I would say I would recommend, especially now that it's Christmas time. I think there's enough of a basis for people to kind of get it and get where they were going with it. What about you, hon? Which one would you say start with?
Well, I mean, you can start with Colour of Magic because that is the first book in the sequence, and that is actually because Two Flower is basically your way into the, as he's discovering everything, we're discovering everything as well. But yeah, Hogfather's another one. That's really accessible. And it's Going Postal, I would say, which we're going to go into that. Did you like that? That was a nice segue, wasn't it? There?
That was professional. I'm impressed. You did that better than I did.
Because Going Postal's another one, kind of like standalone, and he's my Von Litvig is my favourite new character.
Yes, I love the name, love the character, and just to pick up what Chris said, Jodie's the new Voldemort. We do not speak her name.
She just follows you around like a bad smell. I'm not even talking about Doctor Who. Talking about a completely different universe, and she's there. Thanks, guys. Oh God, I've lost her.
Do you want to address this comment before we continue?
I don't even know what to say to that.
I love having it delicious. You could have just left it at George Clooney's back, but no, you have to go the extra yard. Thank you for that.
Thank you, Mark. How do you know they're delicious? Why did you go for that one?
Oh God. I need a change of avatar for that, please, Mark.
Yes. No, don't. You don't know what it'll come with.
And I've got to agree with Louise. Knowing anything about the books is definitely not needed for the watch. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, not this watch, Louise, because it's got nothing to do with the source material. Just name only.
Oh my gosh. What did Richard say? I think Going Postal was the best one to follow the books. I'd be inclined to agree, as you say. Let me pull up Going Postal.
I'd say it's close between Going Postal and Hogfather.
Yes, and this one actually had the biggest budget because the other previous two did pretty well for for Sky One. So this one, if I remember correctly, it had the biggest budget, and it was also filmed in Budapest, whereas the other ones I think they were filmed in the UK. Yeah, so this one filming began in 2009, and it was released in the end of May 2010.
Can't believe it was that long ago.
Yeah, it's been a while since we've had. Hold on, I've got to grab this one.
Don't you stop.
Here we are, trying to be serious, Yeah. And all I can see is nipples.
Oh, might as well just be talking about burlesque. Let's get Sammy on.
Oh my gosh.
Get the pasties out.
Pasties or pasties? Yes.
Pasties for us.
Oh gosh. Apparently the avatar's changed. We're just waiting to see it change.
Okay.
George. Thank you for that. Oh my gosh. But yeah, 2010. It's been a while. I think that's what got people so excited about the watch when it first got announced.
Yeah.
And just as an aside, do you remember, I know Louise will remember because she was there, for the longest time they said that We Three Men was going to be made as a film because Sam Raimi.
Yes, I do remember that.
I think it was Sam Raimi that had the rights to it for years, and then nothing happened with it, and then it got picked up by the Henson Company, who apparently still have the rights and are still making it in commas, but we haven't heard anything about that for about 4 years, so I'm a little bit
do we
concerned.
really want to?
Mm.
Do we really want that made in this current era?
Yeah.
Because it's basically just toxic males fighting and drinking.
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah.
You can't really. I can't. It'll be we free cooks.
Oh, thank you, Louise. She says at the last convention they were still making it. Yeah, I think it's just stuck in production now. I mean,
The
it might.
Sam Raimi version sounds really cool. I do like him.
I don't think he's got the rights to it anymore. He had the rights for a long time, and then nothing ever came about. So I think Pratchett's estate kind of got the license back, and that's when they went to Henson, or Henson went to them. I'm not quite sure which way it did, but I think Narrativia are still attached to this one.
Yeah.
So fingers crossed they'll actually keep an eye on what's going on.
I hope so. I was hoping it was going to be like a Tolkien estate kind of arrangement.
Mark says, sorry, George Clooney's delicious bat nipples said Sam Raimi would actually be an excellent director for it. I think he would have as well, to be honest. I would have liked to have seen what he would have done with it. Because The We Free Men isn't one of the adult books. It's kind of like the introduction to bring kids into the Discworld. So it was like a young adult novel. So I would have been quite curious to see how he would have kind of gone about introducing it and what his kind of spin on it would have been. I think it would have been fun though.
Oh, definitely.
But when did we get to? We going postal.
Yeah.
Going postal.
We have gone postal.
We have gone postal. It's actually one of my favourite books as well.
I enjoy it.
So, principal cast, we had Richard Coyle, who was actually excellent as Moise Van Lichtenberg.
I like him as an actor.
I know I do. Yeah, it's just something really nice about him, and he kind of threw himself into that role, and you could see he was having fun. Same with David Suchet, he plays the villain, Reacher Guilt. I love David Suchet.
Yeah. Oh, he plays such a good baddie.
He does. Yeah. And he was loving it.
He was absolutely relishing it.
I think that's probably one of the ones to answer the question that came before. If you are going to watch one, I would say actually watch Going Postal, because that's probably the most fun and the most accessible.
Yeah.
You can just see it in the cast that they're having a good time. Even Charles Dance, who plays Vetinari, the patrician.
And his patrician just blew Jeremy Irons out of the water.
Yeah, it did.
But again, I love Charles Dance. It's just gravitas. And I wonder if was he already playing Tywin at that point?
No, I think it was before. So
I wonder if anybody had seen him as the patrician and gone, yeah, he's a clever so-and-so.
Yeah, he's a Machiavellian kind of character. Wonder if we could use him for something else. Yeah. But I agree with you. I love Charles Dance. I think he's a great actor. And Claire Foy played Adora Baldearhart, and she is brilliant in this. She is so much fun.
She's another brilliant character. You talk about strong female characters. She's fantastic.
But she's not a patronising character, even in the books or the film. She's just a fun character, and she is strong. But at the same time, when you kind of hear her backstory and kind of find out why she's the way she is, it's quite sad.
Yeah.
Who else did we have? We had Andrew Sachs, which I think that was one of his last roles, if I remember correctly.
It was, yes.
Yeah, and I love Andrew Sachs from Fawlty Towers.
Yeah.
Manuel. I loved seeing him playing off John Cleese in that TV series.
I always associate 40 Towers with Christmas. I don't know why. Maybe it was
Yeah,
repeated. I don't know.
it was. It was either 40 Towers or it was Only Fools and Horses,
Yeah.
because they always used to have a Christmas special.
Yes. You remember when TV were good?
Yeah, I do, unfortunately. Thank you, Project
Thank you,
Storytime.
Josh.
It's Game of Thrones started in 2011, so this was just before he would have been. I mean, he might have already been cast, but this came out before it did. What's this? Rise and Shine. Didn't Nanny Arg have a recipe for spotted dick? She did. Yes. I don't think it was quite the same as the one that people are familiar with, but you are correct, because I've got that recipe book.
So I get nipples, you get dick.
Welcome to the Valkyries. James Andrew Morrison. I think I found the root of the problem with the watch. It was commissioned by BBC America. Yes, it was.
Yes.
And also they found a loophole that they could exploit. So they didn't actually have to kind of talk to Rihanna Pratchett or Rob Wilkins or anyone actually connected to the Pratchett estate. So thank you for that. Appreciate it. But
awful.
Yeah, and it kind of, I can't say it breaks my heart that it's going to be awful, because it just makes it sound really, really negative. But I think we've had enough of awful. You know, we just wanted something good.
Yeah.
Star Wars, Star Trek, Doctor Who. It's all the same.
But yeah, I know, because people say, well, you know, you haven't watched it yet, give it a chance, but you kind of know where it's going. And to not involve anybody from the Pratchett family, or you can't make it with love. I mean, look at Good Omens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, and I know Neil was part of it as well, but you know, he was close to Terry and he knew what Terry's wishes would be, and he wouldn't do anything that would disrespect that. So the fact that they've just done this entire project without anything, it just doesn't give me a lot of hope.
Yes. But I will still watch it, and you know, if I'm wrong, I will be the first to put my hands up and say, all right, it was just a really terrible trailer. But it seems to be universally hated. I haven't found anyone that's had anything good to say about it.
It just left me cold. It didn't seem like the watch, and not even fantasy. It just felt this weird cyberpunk thing.
Yeah. I think we said it before, and I think even it was said in the chat. It's Discworld in name only. Again, they took a well-known IP and kind of twisted it and banked on, you know, nostalgia or fan hype, and it kind of has backfired on them, I think. And Sam McKay brings up a good point as well. The Lord of the Rings. The more we hear about that,
it's not sounding good. But they still have got Tim Shippey, I think, at the moment, and he has a lot to do. Oh, thank you, Jesse. Lovely to see you. I think as long as Tom Shippey, is involved, but you know, there's only one man.
Yes, and before it was Christopher Tolkien, wasn't it? Who oversaw everything, but since he's passed, I'm not sure who's next in the Tolkien family.
I'm not sure either.
Yeah,
we'll see, but it does seem fantasy's taking a real beating at the moment. I'm not reading it, Mark. I'm talking it. I'm making a serious point.
Go on, read it. You know you want it.
How does one get abused by nipples? Not of interest.
And it's supposed to be delectable, not delicious.
That doesn't make it any better, really, though, does it? I can't be doing with it. What Daleks with nipples and boobs, and
yeah, there seems to be a lot of that going around at the moment. I saw the trailer today.
and then boob armor in Mandalorian. It's just boobs everywhere. What's going on?
But why do the Daleks get boobs and Mandalorians don't? What's that about? And Retro Doctor is starting to sound like I'm going to have to watch George Clooney's Batman movie if I'm really going to understand Discworld. No, it's just a running joke, sweetheart. That's all.
Yeah.
It's I wouldn't want you to watch George Clooney's Batman.
It's gone on that long. I can't even remember how it started. I'm just really concerned that is only what some people are going to assert with me. That's really worrying. Thanks, Mark.
You wait till you get your Christmas card this year. Moonpig is a wonderful thing.
Is it? Oh God! Don't tempt him, because you know he'll do it.
You Brits are refined. You get boobs. We Americans don't. I'm sure you'll get the Daleks as well.
Yeah.
You're welcome to them, from what I can tell. Go nuts.
Oh God! Somebody's. I don't know if you've seen the. Did you see Az's video with the Radio Times cover?
I didn't.
Somebody's edited the Dalek. They've made it a lot thinner, and somebody's edited it to make it look like a butt plug. That's the show, yeah.
That kind of sums it up, doesn't it? Really?
The sonic screwdriver's a vibrator, and now we've got these Daleks. Oh my God, just it's gone.
And even Colin says most of the point where after 57 years of the Daleks suddenly given seemingly masculine and feminine forms. I don't know, Colin.
No, we
because
don't know,
BBC,
Colin.
that's why. Because BBC.
Daleks weren't diverse enough. We'll just do that. Just.
Oh my God. I've completely lost where we were. We were talking about going postal, weren't we? Yeah, we were.
We will get to the end of it. We'll
finish it, damn it. Oh my gosh. Okay.
So it's definitely the best.
Yes.
Adaptation, yeah.
Best adaptation, best cast, and I think it was probably the most fun as well to watch. But I do have a soft spot for Hogfather, and I will be watching it again in December.
It's just that, the nostalgia, and it's just a really good, feel-good Christmas film. Even if you're not particularly a Discworld fan, it's kind of like Nightmare Before Christmas. I know, like, some people don't like the old cheesy Christmas films, and that's like a good tonic.
Yes,
I think Hogfather fits more.
And
it is a little bit dark in places.
Yeah, it is. It is pretty. Well, it's based on the old kind of religions as well. It kind of takes the sparkliness off Christmas and kind of takes it back to where the origin of our kind of Yule came from. And I think even it mentions in the book and the show, most people have forgotten that the very first story started with blood, so it's a sacrifice.
Yeah. Merry Christmas, everybody!
Merry Christmas! Go watch Death dressed up as Father Christmas. You'll love it.
Us Brits, we love setting fire to things and blood and skeletons dressed up as Father Christmas.
I know one thing that I did see that hasn't come up yet, which I was just looking for. Do you remember the book? It was another one of the kids' books. It was The Amazing Maurice.
I haven't read it for a long time, but I do remember it. Yeah, that's been adapted.
It is, yes. That's let me see if I can pull it up.
Is it BBC?
You know what? I couldn't find who did it. I'm just looking at the moment. There isn't a lot of information on it at the moment, but they did release some of the cast, and Hugh Laurie is voicing Maurice.
Oh, that's a good choice.
Yeah, they've got David Thewlis is Bossman. Amelia Clark is Militia.
Wow, that's some big names as well.
Yes, so I'm tentatively.
So what is it? Is it live action, animated? Like
It's animated.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's animated. So I thought at one point it was going to be live action, but it's definitely an animated one, and it's a kind of odd looking animation style. It's very kind of stylized. Hold on, if I pull up Variety, where are we?
Maybe it was going to be live action, and then they looked at cats and went, "No."
It's like, no, let's not. So there it is. There's Maurice. So I'd be curious to see. And Global Screen has picked up worldwide distribution rights, excluding North America.
Sorry,
Excluding North
guys.
America, the UK, and German-speaking territories. What? To the English language animation feature Amazing Maurice, based on a Terry Pratchett novel. The screenplay has been written by Terry Rosso, Oscar nominated for Shrek. All right.
That's promising.
Yeah. He's also been... Oh, so animated Aladdin. I was going to say, please don't tell me the live action
No.
Aladdin. Pirates of the Caribbean, Ratatouille, The Croods, and Despicable Me. Okay.
Oh,
that's pretty cool.
That's an impressive list.
Yeah.
See, with this, because it's not Discworld, I don't think I'm as protective over it.
No, it's set on the disc, but it's not a disc. It's a standalone.
Yeah.
Like the other ones, which is why I'm guessing why they did it. To be honest, the same with We Free Men. It's one of those. It's a good kind of jumping in point.
That fills me with more hope than The Watch does.
Oh god, yeah. Oh yes.
But that's not hard.
Yeah. Colin says, to be honest, it's not my favorite animation style. Yeah, I can kind of see what you mean. I would have liked to have seen it stop motion animation. I think that would have been pretty fun.
Yeah, I was just thinking that. Yeah.
Yeah, even like a Tim Burton, if he could have done it, that would have been really cool in his style. I think that would have worked. Because it's a retelling of the Pied Piper. That's what Amazing Maurice is.
Tim Burton could do We Three Men.
Yeah, I could see that happening.
Because I think he needs to go back to the stop motion stuff and stop doing live action.
It hasn't gone very well recently, has it?
No.
I'd be curious to see the trailer when it comes out, definitely.
Yeah.
But that's a little bit more hopeful than The Watch, at least. But I think that's going to be much more centered towards kids, which is fine. But I'll still watch it.
So we know what rating The Watch is going to be.
I don't, to be honest. It's probably going to be, I would guess if it's not a PG, it's probably going to be a 12. So I'm guessing, I haven't even seen if it's going to be released in the UK. I know it's definitely being released in the US on the 5th of January, I think. That's when the first episode comes available. But it's probably, if we're going to get it, it's probably going to be on one of the BBC's kind of streaming services, I would imagine.
They might just put it straight on iPlayer.
Yeah, quite possibly. Just
Just,
'Cause it's-
I ain't got that anymore, so I'll have to
No.
find it by alternate means.
Alternate means, yes,
Yeah.
in commerce. But yeah, I will definitely find it. It's got to be out there somewhere. I'm 99% certain it's not on anywhere like Amazon haven't picked it up and Netflix haven't picked it up. So it's got to be under the BBC banner somewhere.
What do you mean it's doomed?
Asta says keep it. Even the US don't want it.
That's what we felt about Lower Decks. Like, oh, what a shame we can't get it in England.
Damn. Yes. January release, but no date for the BBC. I would imagine we're gonna get it at some point, but I will find means to watch it as soon as it comes out because I wanna review it and be negative and as we keep getting accused of, we're just hating on things.
Yeah, we're haters. Terrible.
Oh my gosh. Starry, thank you.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's been brilliant. Just sorry we went off topic.
We kind of meandered around.
Yeah. Sammy will be so proud of us.
Got distracted by George Clooney's delicious nipples.
Yeah. And that's getting cut. Good. Project story time. You know what to do.
Make me proud. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. But no, this has been really fun. Thank you so much.
It was an honour to have you back on. Thank you.
It's always lovely to see you, love.
You too. Huge thank you to everyone who joined us in the chat. Have you got anything coming up other than Christmas?
I am doing another script reading with the Script Doctors. We're doing National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, so that's going to be an absolute riot.
I love that film.
Yeah, so that is coming up. I think it's on is it the 20th of December, Mr. Hyde? Mr. Hyde will tell us. I'm sure I'll be doing something with Dan. He drags me into all kinds of stuff.
We love Dan. Dan's awesome.
But yeah, that's about it really. Yeah, it's just like the countdown to Christmas and trying not to think about that New Year's special.
Yes. Yes, I can imagine you're not looking forward to it. I've seen a lot of people saying, why New Year's? Why not Christmas?
Because Chris Chibnall is the Grinch. That's why. And that's a fact.
That pretty much covers it, yeah. That's all right. Don't be too hungover to watch it.
Yeah. Just don't. It's an hour of your life you're not going to get back, love. Just
nah. Just say no.
Yeah.
Just say no. We're not going to do it. It's okay. There's going to be plenty of people that will watch it for us, and I can get the gist of what happened by watching them. I'd rather give them the watch.
Well, apparently a trailer went out today, and I'm just I don't care. I didn't know it. I don't care. That's horrible for me to say because it's Doctor Who, but this isn't Doctor Who. No.
In any other time, you would have watched it a dozen times by now, but it's just like,
Yeah, that's.
I'm gonna go put up a Christmas decoration. Sorry.
Yeah.
Just to grab a quick one. Colin says Starry Girl. I think they've put it up against Corrie and Emmerdale to explain the terrible viewing figures. I think both are going to have higher viewing figures, to be honest, Colin. So yes, I'd agree with that.
It's not going to do well.
And Chris says Starry, yet unlike the one in Dr. Seuss's story, Chibnall's heart will never grow three sizes. He's not wrong.
No, it's a fair point, Chris.
Oh my gosh. huge thank you, everyone. And as always, Starry for joining me. You
Thank
guys are the
you.
best.
Yeah, thank you, chat. Yeah, we have the best chat, don't we?
We do. We really do.
We have the most random chat.
We love you guys. We do. The Valkyries will be back tomorrow. We're continuing with our Vikings reviews, and we will be back tomorrow morning with Loki on his Mornings of Mischief. So
Fantastic. We shall see you there.
absolutely, everyone have a fantastic weekend and be good to each other.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Don't think about George Clooney's nipples.